So this is 8.1c, College Trigonometry, Complex Numbers. We're in example 5. We're going to add and subtract complex numbers. Now, one of the things that you learn here when you're adding and subtracting complex numbers is you're only adding the real parts and you're only adding the imaginary parts to each other. So we're going to take 3 and -2, -4 and +6, and be done. Okay? So it's just remembering that part of it. So if we have -9 plus 7i, and we're adding 3 minus 15i, we're going to add -9 and 3 and get -6, 7i and -15i and get -8i, and be done. Okay? So nothing really crazy with that, but I would like to do a few more, because you're going to get some with these doggone negative signs right there. And notice, whoops, that doesn't look like a 6, does it? Now remember, this negative distributes. So if we're going to take off the parenthesis, we have to change the sign of everything inside. That's the key, the second part of this. Everything changes signs. So now we have -4, -6, -10, 3i, 7i. That gives me a 10i, and I'm done. Alright, last one would be 12 minus 5i. And then we've got -8 minus 3i. Take the parenthesis off. We have to, in order to combine these, change the sign. And 12 minus 8 is 4, -5 plus 3 is -2i, and we're done. Okay, so let's say that we want to multiply. Let's say that we want to multiply something like 2 minus 3i times 3 plus 4i. Okay, we do the FOIL method just like we always do. We do the first. We do the outside, 2 times 4i. We do the inside, -3i times 3. Oops. Come on. That is going to be a -9i. Okay, and then we do the last. So we combine those. Oops. 6 minus I minus 12i squared. Now remember, I squared is -1. Okay? And so then we get 6. These two multiplied give me a +12, right? 6 minus I plus 12. So I get 18 minus I. Remember, the whole number goes first, the I goes last. Alright, let's keep going with practicing some of these. If we look at the B part of this example, we have 4 plus 3i, and they're squaring it. Okay, so it's just like taking 4 plus 3i times 4 plus 3i. So we get 16 plus, what am I thinking, outside, 12i inside, and then last. So that's going to give me my 24i plus 9 times -1. So that's going to be a -9 plus my 16. It's going to be a 7. And I'm done. Okay, C is 2 plus I, and then we're going to multiply that by -2 minus I. So let's do the first. Let's do the outside. Let's do the inside. And let's do the last. Okay, that is going to give me -4 minus 4i minus -1, because I squared is -1, plus 1. So this and this is going to give me -3 minus 4i. And we'll call that good. Alright, so let's see here what we've got. D is the last one in this particular kind of example, and I want to do it just because it's kind of weird. So they're multiplying conjugates. First, outside, inside, last. Okay, let's look at this. Those cancel. So 36 minus 25 times negative 1. 36 plus 25 is going to give me 61. But if I want to put it in the form a plus bi, which I do, it's going to be 61, the whole number, plus an I. I don't have any i's, so I'm going to call it 0i. 61 plus 0i. If you were to write it in the standard form, I mean, obviously I'm going to take that answer, but if they want it in standard form, it's going to look like that. All right, so looking at page 337, when we get into the powers, a couple of the things I want to focus on. You remember I said I to the first power is I. I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. And I to the fourth is 1. Okay, those are the four you need to know. The rest of them you don't need to know because you can figure out. So what if you want to find I to the 15th power? Well, it's pretty simple because you take 15, the power here, divided by 4, always 4, and you get 3 with a remainder of 3. So if you get a remainder of 3, you use this one here with I cubed. So your answer is negative I. Okay, so if we have something like I to the 56th power, we take 56, divide it by 4. 4 goes into 16. 4 times what's your remainder? 0. You don't have any remainder, so your answer is going to be 1. So if you get 0 for a remainder, your answer is going to be 1. So if we had something like I to the negative 3 power, what that means is 1 over I cubed. Okay, what is I cubed? I cubed is negative 1. Or I'm sorry, negative I. Okay, so you get negative I. And we don't like to have that negative I on the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by its conjugate. And we're going to get I over negative I squared. I squared is negative 1 times negative, so it's just going to be I over 1 or I for an answer. So even though I get 1 over negative I, if I don't want I in the denominator, which I normally don't, then I multiply by its opposite, I over I, positive I over positive I, multiply that through, and get I squared, negative I times I is negative I squared. I squared is negative 1. A negative of a negative 1 is a positive 1. And that's it for the third video, and we'll continue on with the fourth.